car on the two tracks is the understatement of the year. The 428 Cobra Jet engine may cause a little commotion at the traffic light, but in the competition circles, it leaves a little to be desired. If outward appearance could win a race, the Mach 1 would take them all, hands down. Fomoco's newest Pony Express has such an inherent bred-for-the-track look that it seems a little out of place on the street. As one passing spectator commented, that car looks like 100 miles an hour parked at the curb. It's longer and lower and definitely shows more GT orientation than ever. Much of the body design, and particularly the rear end, reflects the Shelby influence. The black tape running the full width of the back panel reflects gold under artificial light. Side marker lights are inserted in the fenders front and rear. These air scoops under the C-pillars are not for real. However, they do add to the tough profile, as do the aerodynamically styled side view mirrors. The Mach 1 really needed these Goodyear F70/14 polyglass tires to correct some of the handling problems inherent in a poorly balanced car. They're mounted on 6-inch rims, 108 inches from front to rear. This latest offering from the Stang stable features dual headlights, one pair Frenched way back into the fenders, the other mounted in the grille. The dull black paint job on the hood is the quick way to spot this super pony. And while those hood lock pins are part of the NASCAR look, the idea was actually borrowed from the Ford tractor division. And here's the snorkel topped 428-incher that poses part of the handling problems. With this heavy mill, almost 60% of the weight rides up front. With that kind of balance, you wonder if the rear wheels are on the ground. The advertised horsepower is a hard-to-believe 335, but there's a walloping 440 foot-pounds of torque at only 3,400 RPMs. They lowered the top a couple of inches, and so that people can still ride inside, they also lowered the seats and steering column. Hey, these front buckets are the best yet. They fit. Back as well as lateral support is excellent. And with the new perforated vinyl, they can even breathe. Even though they widened the interior, comfort in the rear is impossible for an adult. In fact, forward vision for the back seat occupants is limited by the built-in headrest in the front seats. The dash consists of a speedometer, tack, and a whole lot of lights, which are kind of cheerful during the holiday season. But for driving, we prefer gauges. After 3 days on the track with this Mach 1, we felt that the 302, or possibly the new 361-inch power plants, would make for a far more suitable marriage. Be that as it may, this body design will sell Mach 1s, even if they're powered by rubber bands. The Mustang has always been the pony car leader. This new edition will only stimulate the trend. #1 pony car offering. In the past, it's always been a strong performer. And while this latest version, due to government restrictions, doesn't carry the wallop of its predecessors, it's still not too shabby a machine. Anyway, here it is. You be the judge. This latest version of Chrysler's pony car has received very little change, the most significant news being the discontinuation of its 6-cylinder engine. This two-door hardtop is the only body style, and there are two models, the Barracuda and our tester, the CUDA. Out of the hole, our 340 cubic incher produced a 0 to 30 run in 3.6 seconds. With the tires hot, the dig was better, and we ET'd the 0 to 50 mile an hour run in 5.9. Emission controls retarded our acceleration runs, and when we brought the CUDA out of the hole for the third time, it took 9.8 seconds to reach 70 miles per hour. The CUDA performed well through the pylon courses. Our car had the special performance axle package with a sure grip heavy-duty 3.55 rear end. The front end stuck and the rear tracked well. At 45 miles per hour, body lean was not excessive and recovery was good. The car did well on the braking course. From 30 miles an hour, 39 feet. The CUDA came with power-assisted discs up front, drums in the rear. With hot brakes, the pedal started to fade, and the 50-mile-an-hour stop took 101 feet. In high-speed panic stops, nosedive was minimal. There was considerable heat buildup, but most stops were made in a good straight line with some rear axle hop. From 70, it skidded 202 feet before the stop. In high-speed cornering, the rear end seemed light and skitterish. We lacked the power to bring it through the corners with the throttle as we did a couple of years ago. However, stability was excellent, as you can see by this action freeze through a difficult reverse camber turn at 70 miles an hour. Our tester wore the F70 by 14 tires with a special suspension package that includes heavy-duty torsion bars, heavy-duty rear springs, and front and rear sway bars. With the beefier leg muscles, the ride factor is not too comfortable, but this could be sacrificed for the better handling and cornering capabilities. Basically, the Barracuda is the standard version, while this CUDA is the sporty performance model. Exterior cosmetics can be purchased as an option to make both cars look very much alike. The difference, for the most part, lies underneath the skin. As far as the sporty compacts go, we rated the CUDA above average. However, the standard model could be considered a better buy. From out here at our test track in Groton, Michigan, we have a special project for you today that we wanted to bring you in on. That's the all-new Hurst Oldsmobile. And driving the car right now, we have Jack Watson, who came up today, and we always like to be in on the creation of something new, Jack, and it's nice to have you.
Well, Bud, it's nice to be here, and we're nice to have you in on it. We've had a pretty successful day. We've been out here wringing out suspension, drivetrain components, and we're real pleased that the tires are doing everything that we expected. We're using these new Goodyear polyglass tires, and which, by the time you take this show out of the can and show to the people after the car is released, should also be on the market. And the car, actually, with the 455 cubic inch engine and the disc brakes, not only accelerates well and handles well, but it brakes real well. We've been running braking tests on the straightaway over here, and which, as you saw, as we were doing loop-to-loops.
We've had a good time, I'll tell you. You folks will have a chance to see some of this footage on the performance of this particular car, this Hurst Oldsmobile, in just a minute. But I did want you to talk with Jack, and actually Jack is the creator of this Hurst Olds. In fact, you've created several things prior to this, haven't you, Jack?
Well, I'm afraid I'm guilty. It's true. The inception of this car came about every year. I have done a number of vehicles for different individuals in the racing fraternity, and I had done a car for George Hurst. And George, as you know, has always been a real leader in this business and wants something a little different and maybe a little better. And this is the way he's always pursued all their product development. And So the car that I had done for him seemed to create quite a bit of interest, and out of that seemed to evolve the Hurst Olds.
I know Jack is familiar to many race fans around the country, and also the creator of the Hemi under glass and that twin-engine Olds Dynamo. That was a wild one too, wasn't it, Jack?
Well, it sure was. We've got a new one on the boards right now. It we'll be releasing this summer. It is going to be an Oldsmobile. What it's going to be, I just soon not say.
Oh.
But
you know what I like about this? This car, this particular car, is going to be made available to fellas all over the country.
Well, that's true. It's going to be a limited quantity reproduction. We're going to build 515 of them. But they will be available, and you will be able to see them on the street. They all will be silver and black, and I guess I've been somewhat of a believer of Henry Ford's scheme when he said that you can have it any color you want as long as it's black. Well, I figured that was good enough for him, must be good enough for me, so we'll make them any color you want as long as they're silver and black.
You can have them with the black stripes and the silver body, or the silver body and the black stripes.
Right, either way.
I like that sort of thought. We've had our fair share of supercar ring-outs here on Car and Track, and it just could be that the Hurst Olds is the silkiest bomb ever nestled between four wheels. This executive's hot rod carries its own insignia to tell the world it's a special kind of Oldsmobile. The body is probably the only thing that's directly traceable to a 442. After the car is built in Lansing, it's taken across town and rebuilt by Demmer Engineering. This is where the HO package is assembled. This road missile is the brainchild of ex-Hurst man Doc Watson, plus being marketed and warrantied by Oldsmobile. This Boulevard bully operated atop these G7014 Goodyear polyglass tires, mounted on 7-inch rims with a 112-inch wheelbase. Watson said it was set up to take 7-inch slicks, both Goodyear and M&H. This special Hurst mobile undoubtedly offers the lushest interior of any supercar on the market. The front buckets are roomy and quite soft, and a whale of a lot more comfortable than the ones behind them. Legroom in the rear is not bad. At any rate, it's a supercar that can honestly be termed a family car. Our tester had power assist steering, which takes a little getting used to on a tricky track, but the wheel is positioned perfectly for hard, high-speed cornering. The car is available only with an automatic transmission and this award-winning Hurst dual-gate shifter. All instrumentation was recessed in this walnut panel dash. Gauges were clear and easy to read. With this muscular monster under the hood, you'll never have to take a back seat in your local drive-in. 455 cubic inches, delivering 390 horsepower, a compression ratio of 10.5 to 1, and 500 foot-pounds of torque at 3,600 RPMs, plus a little thing called ram air. We also had a few other little goodies aboard, like high-performance cylinder heads, a high-lift, long-duration cam, and tuned tubular headers. All this plus air conditioning and stereo tape. This little package was every bit a gentleman around town, but here at the track, when we blasted it, the car roared out of the hole, and we had 30 miles an hour in 2.8 seconds. The second time out, we went for 45 and had it in 3.5 seconds. We really wound this Silver Screamer again and again. Our best 0 to 60 run was 5.3 seconds. The fastest quarter-mile time was 13.24 at 107 miles an hour. And no matter how you slice it, that makes the Hurst Olds a goin' Jessie. After you pin your stomach to your backbone in these straight line runs, you suddenly find out she can handle through the corners with the agility of a bobcat. Jack Watson designed this car to go, handle, and stop like no other supercar on the market. And we were convinced that this car was just one notch away from the twilight zone. In the stop category, it was great. From 30 miles an hour, we shut down in 31 feet.
From 45, it took 56 feet. This Hurst hot rod features disc brakes up front and drums in the rear. We made several high-speed panic stops from 65 miles an hour. The average stopping distance was 148 feet, and they were all good straight-line stops. Pedal fade at a minimum. Here's a 70-mile-an-hour stop in slow motion. Watch it. The beautiful part of this executive supercar is not the instant wallop, but the smooth, comfortable riding qualities. When a car handles this well in the corners, you expect a washboard ride. In high-speed cornering, you can steer it through with the accelerator. But don't back off too fast or she'll leave you, like this. All the suspension emphasis is placed on handling. Stabilizer bars front and rear. Spring rates on the coils are 435 pounds per inch up front, 122 pounds per inch in the rear. Well over 50% of the car's 3,600 pounds is up front. That rear stabilizer bar does a tremendous job. In extreme cornering, when the front end starts to go, a little more power brings it through the pocket in a controlled drift. To sum it up, this car is more fun than a Mau convention on Saturday night. And with air conditioning and stereo, it's the only way to fly.
We heard many rumors back in July of 1968 that the new Mustang would receive the biggest changes for '69, but has since revealed that most of the changes were mechanical. When we took our cameras to Ford's test track in Dearborn, we saw the entire line of Mustangs, and the new top-of-the-line performance Mach 1 really caught our eye. With a 428 Cobra Jet power plant under the hood, plus an improved suspension system, this little pony could be king of the corral. With cars like the Torino Cobra in this Mustang Mach 1, 1969 could be Ford's year to penetrate the performance youth market. For the past 3 years or more, Ford Motor Company has made fantastic strides in competitive motorsports. However, it sold less than 10% of the production performance cars in a 600,000 vehicle market. Where they lost the race was in the streets. That great American race course that starts at the end of every driveway. The guy that owned a Torino would watch and see them win at Atlanta or Daytona. And on the way home, a Chevelle or a Roadrunner would warp him at every traffic light. And now, for '69, the Cobra Jets are here, in production, on sale, at the dealerships. Ford has finally seen the light, so the race for street supremacy is on. The new Mach 1 looks enough like the Shelby Mustang to make even Carroll Shelby look twice. And watch this. That scoop is not part of the hood. Instead, it's anchored right to the carb and sucks big chunks of atmosphere right down the throats of that 4-barrel atomizer. And right underneath that wind tunnel is the 428 cubic inch knuckle buster that makes it all happen. They advertise it at 335 horsepower plus 445 foot-pounds of torque at 3,400 RPMs. These bucket seats are the best they've mounted in any Mustang. They really fit people, giving excellent back support, especially on long trips. And the headrests are built right in. That high center console provides good lateral support. When you're buckled and harnessed in, you stay there, no matter how hard the going. The steering wheel is adjustable, and the dash is a little posh for a performance car, but the instrumentation was clear and easy to read. This is no place for the Jolly Green Giant, but it'll handle small children and luggage. The cornering and handling ability of the Mach 1 in our initial trial run was great. With all that power up front, you can make it do just about anything, including a fandango. We drove the wide sweeping radius turns here at Dearborn with a throttle in a four-wheel drift that felt as smooth as homemade ice cream. This car looked like it was going 30 miles an hour before it left the line, so we clocked it to 45, and that happened in 3.8 seconds. What a way to lose your mind. The second time out of the hole, we really let it fly. It was like getting hit with a club. We had 60 miles an hour in 5.9. If that doesn't win a few stoplight tussles for you, you'll have to go to a catapult. The Mustang has been the pony car leader in sales ever since the first one, and we don't think Fomoco has done a thing to change the trend for 1969. Company's Torino made its debut in 1968, and the car was an instant success, not only on the sales charts, but on the racetracks as well. And only very minor changes took place on the surface for 69. However, under the hood, it's a different story.